All right, what's up, everybody? Welcome to the Hoan Zone, and today I have a special guest, Jay Scott. And so this portion is called the Friend Zone, and Jay's one of my friends. If you knew what you knew today, 20 years ago, you'd be in a much different place.
Absolutely.
So let's help the viewers. What is it that you wish you knew? What are top 3 things you wish you knew then that you know now?
Absolutely. Top 3 things. Okay. Number 1, be an asset collector. So a lot of people, they'll spend years, decades going after transactional type income. They'll buy a house, they'll fix it up and they'll sell it, often called a flip. They'll buy stocks, they'll make a little bit of money, they'll sell it. And that's great. When you're young, it's great to have those pockets of cash, those buckets of cash that you can then use to buy other stuff. But along the way, instead of just taking that stuff and buying something else that you're ultimately going to sell, it's important to take some of that money and build wealth, build assets, buy assets that you plan to hold long term. And when I say long term, I'm talking about 10, 20, 30, 50 years. Because ultimately, time is your best friend in any investing business. Time's going to make you money. That is how you make money, by buying assets, buying good assets, holding them, waiting for those assets to go up in value. And not only are you going to build asset value, not only are you going to get appreciation, but if you buy the right assets, you're also going to get other things. If you buy cash flowing real estate, you're going to get cash flow. Every month your renters are going to be paying you money, and you're going to be able to take that money and reinvest it and buy more assets. If you buy real estate, you're probably also going to get tax advantages. So there's tax benefits to buying real estate. Every month, every year, you get to use this thing called depreciation, where they take part of the value of that property that you bought and you can write that off your taxes, so it lowers your tax burden. And then the last thing, if you buy real estate, a lot of times we buy real estate with a loan, with leverage. And when you do that and you have a tenant that's paying your mortgage every month, they're paying down your principal. So after 10 or 20 or 30 years, that loan that you took out for $100,000 or $200,000, you now owe nothing. But you didn't pay it, your tenants paid it. So now you have a $100,000 or $200,000 or $500,000 asset that your tenants paid for. So between appreciation, tax benefits, cash flow, and what we call amortization or loan pay down, those are the 4 greatest reasons to buy real estate. And not just buy it and fix it and resell it, but buy it and hold it. And a lot of people know me as somebody that's flipped a lot of houses, and I have, and people are like, that's awesome, you flipped 400 houses. Yeah, but you know what? I wish I would have kept 400 houses and taken the cash flow, the appreciation, the tax benefits, and the amortization. Because if I had done that, I would have made a whole lot more money than flipping those same 400 houses.
Wow. Okay. So that's a lot of wealth in a short time frame. What should people do today? So let's say they've never started before. They don't know how to buy a house. They think they need a whole bunch of money. How do they get started if they don't know what to do?
Yeah, absolutely. So for me, it's all about relationships. It's all about other people. And other people can serve a lot of different benefits. Other people can be your mentors. So find people that have done this before and can help you and teach you along the way. Other people, they can be your partners. So they can help you do the things that you're not good at. Maybe they're good at finding houses. Maybe they're good at renovating houses. Maybe they're good at marketing and selling houses. Whatever it is, they can assist you. Third, they can be your financial partners. So a lot of us, we start out, we don't have any money in this business. But you find somebody that does have money, and there are a lot of people out there. I'm one of them these days. I have plenty of money, but you know what I don't have? I don't have time. I don't want to be spending all my time finding deals and renovating houses and selling houses or getting tenants. So I'm happy to bring the money. And you out there listening to this, you can be the one that can bring me the houses and bring me the tenants and help me renovate them. So if you don't have money, you probably do have something else. You have expertise, you have time, you have energy. Use those things. Find somebody like me that has the money but doesn't have the time or the energy to go out and be doing it, and partner. And that makes the best partnership. So people in general are your greatest resource. Make sure in whatever business you're in, the most important thing you can be doing day in and day out is networking and meeting other people and building relationships, because you'd be surprised. People you've met 5 years ago can show up one day and that's the beginning of a partnership that you never imagined when you met them 5 years ago, but it just happened to be the right time and place.
That's awesome. So it's funny that he says that, because I don't know if he even read this, but my shirt says money is time.
Absolutely.
A lot of people think time is money, and that's the way they go about it, and they're trading their time for money. Someone like Jay, who has more money than time, will gladly trade his money to to have more time back. And so if you guys are interested in creating equity and cash flow, and you have an opportunity, you can talk to someone like Jay who has the money, and then together you guys can create the cash flow that you're ultimately wanting, because that is the asset that Jay was talking about in the first part.
Yep, and don't get me wrong, I use my time, but I use my time and I focus my time on that thing that's making me the most money. When I started out in this business, I was doing the things that were making me $40 or $50 or $60 an hour. And as I got better at this business, I started hiring out or partnering or bringing in other people to do the $30 or $40 or $50 or $60 an hour things. And then I focused on the $100 an hour things. And then once I got really good and I could get other people to do the $100 an hour things, then I focused on the $500 an hour things or the $1,000 an hour things. And that's what you need to be doing. Focus your time on whatever it is that's going to generate the most money for you. And what's going to generate the most money for you today is different than what's going to generate the most money for you tomorrow. Today, your maximum value of your time might be $20 or $30 or $40, but get really good at something. Build your expertise, build your knowledge, build your network, and tomorrow, your time, you could probably do something that's generating you $80 an hour, and a year from now, maybe $100 an hour, and 5 years from now, maybe $1,000 an hour. And as you get more experienced, and as your network grows, and your expertise grows, the amount of money that you can be earning every hour you work is going to go up. And you need to be focusing on what's the highest use of my time in terms of dollars at any given point in time.
Right. So what I'm listening to you as you're talking about how much money you get to make per hour, there are some viewers out there that are making $10 an hour, and they're thinking, what is he talking about? $60 an hour, $100 an hour, $1,000 an hour? How is that even possible, right? Because a high-end attorney costs $500 an hour, and you're talking about making $1,000 an hour.
Absolutely.
So this is something that, through my journey, was something that was difficult to comprehend at first. It was like a different reality that I didn't think was ever possible, which was that when you get good enough, you can accomplish something, you can execute on something in a short amount of time, but that is super valuable. So maybe you do a project, it takes you 2 hours, but if you make $2,000 in those 2 hours, that's $1,000 an hour.
Absolutely.
And now we're talking much bigger stuff. And so if you put 10 hours into something and you make $20,000, right? Or even if you make $200,000 an hour on a big deal, like your hourly rate is super jacked up.
Yeah.
But it's a reality shift. I think that takes time though, because Jay didn't say like tomorrow you're going to start doing it. He said year, 2 years, 5 years, whatever.
The first time I flipped a house, here's just to use one example. The first time I flipped a house, well, I'm going to not go with the first one, because the first one I put in probably 200 or 300 hours,
yeah.
and we made $1,200.
You're right.
So I probably made $3 an hour
right.
on that one.
You made below minimum wage.
I made below minimum wage. But the second time we flipped a house, I was able to do it in about 50 or 60 or 70 hours of work, and we made about $15,000.
Right.
So that earned me, what's that? That's about $200 an hour.
Yeah.
These days, when I flip a house, I expect to earn about $20,000 or $30,000. But you know how much time I'm spending? Generally less than 5 hours on that deal, because I'm hiring everything out. Right. I'm not spending my time painting the house. If I'm painting the house and I could be hiring somebody at $20 an hour to paint the house, I'm essentially making $20 an hour for that time that I could be hiring somebody at $20 an hour. So instead, I focus my time on the two things that make me the most money in this business. One, finding deals, and two, finding the money for those deals. Everything else I hire out. So if I spend 5 hours finding a good deal and 5 hours finding the money for a good deal, and then I hire everything else out, and obviously there's going to be a few other things I have to do, but let's say 5 hours to find the deal, 5 hours to finance the deal, and then let's say I spend another 10 hours just doing random stuff on the project. I've now put 20 hours into that project. If I earn $20,000 on that project by hiring everything else out, I'm making $1,000 an hour for that deal that I did. Yeah. 20 hours, $20,000, $1,000 an hour.
There you go. That's how you make $1,000 an hour, right?
And if I'm not busy painting the house and managing contractors and doing all those things that a lot of us as house flippers do, after I find that deal and find the money for that deal and get that project moving, what do? I don't sit and wait for that project to finish. I then go find another deal and money for that deal, right, and another deal and money for that deal. And so in a week, I might find 2 deals and money for those 2 deals. So there's my 20 hours twice a week. There's my 40 hours a week. And if I'm making $1,000 an hour, I now have a full-time job making $1,000 an hour.
Yeah. Wow. Ta-da! Right. One of the ways that I like how I make $1,000 an hour when I do. There was this one time I can remember someone messaged me and said, Hoan, I'm working on a deal. Can you help me? They sent me a text message, right? They said, here's the deal I'm working on. Can you help me close this one? And I said, sure. And then I sent a text to somebody else and I said, hey, I got a deal that you might like. And so I helped this person who secured the property. I helped him find a buyer. I orchestrated this conversation via text message. It might have took me half an hour.
Yep.
And that's a lot. Like, that was generous, right? Maybe 10 minutes, really.
Yep.
Orchestrating this, and I got paid $5,000.
Yeah.
In a half an hour text. So really, that's $10,000 an hour if you were to break it down.
Absolutely. So there are three ways to make money in this world: time, money, expertise. You need to bring at least one of those things to everything you do if you want to make money. So let's say you're an employee. So as an employee, you're probably bringing your time and your expertise. That's why an employer hires you. If you own your own business, well, you're bringing your time, your money, and your expertise. You'll probably get paid more owning a business than being an employee because you're bringing three things instead of two. Well, in Hoan's case, the example he just gave, he didn't bring any of his own money. He basically brought none of his own time, but you know what he brought? He brought expertise. And expertise is worth a lot of money. He wasn't bringing this, he didn't charge $5,000 for a half hour of his time. He charged $5,000 for the thousands of hours that he spent putting in before that time to become the expert and to build the network that he did so that he could then charge $5,000 in 30 minutes.
Right. Right.
So always ask yourself, what do I have? Do I have time and no money or expertise? Do I have time and money but not expertise? Do I have time and expertise and not money? And then fit the thing that maximizes your hourly income based on the 1, 2, or 3 of those things you have.
Right, right. Some people, if they look from the outside looking in, it's like, how'd you get paid that much? You just sent the text message. Yep. Yes, but it's the thousands of hours spent behind the scenes where I am able to send that text message and accomplish the goal. But you guys, I mean, you're starting now. If you're watching this, this is the beginning of your thousands of hours. Just put them in. The time is going to go by anyway. You might as well be doing it based on what Jay just said in terms of what you should focus on. So, in my opinion, improve your expertise. I think that's the most valuable thing right there. Improve your expertise.
It's hard to scale your time. You don't get more time. We all have the same amount of time. Money, well, you can make more money as time goes on, but it's really hard. It's harder to scale money. But the thing you can always scale is your expertise.
Yes.
You can always build, and it's not just expertise, it's also your network. Because network is part of expertise. Go out and meet more people because, like Hoan pointed out, in that 30 minutes, he hooked up 2 people. He knew somebody, and part of his expertise was having a network of people that he could say, hey, I know somebody that can help you. And people will always pay to have somebody that can help them brought to them.
Right.
So that's a large part of that expertise piece.
Right. And the expertise part, it kind of builds on itself. Because I am an expertise and other people know me as an expertise, they reach out to me because there's that certainty that I can help. They're looking for that certainty. They don't want to guess when they're calling somebody, hey, I have a problem. I'm not sure if you can help or not, but this is my problem. When they call me, they know I can help. And then because I do help, that builds on the reputation, and then I have more expertise, more experience, better reputation, and then ultimately more money. Because then you can charge more, and people will gladly pay because there's certainty around it.
Absolutely. So I could go out and speak for a day, and somebody might pay me $1,000. Tony Robbins can go out and speak for a day, and somebody will pay him $1 million.
$1 million bucks.
We each have only one voice. We can even talk about the same thing.
Right.
But the reason they're going to pay him 1,000 times more than they pay me is because he has more expertise, he has more credibility, he's helped more people, and hopefully one day I can charge $1 million to go out and speak for a day. But until then, there are other people out there that have more expertise and more knowledge and more of a network, and they're going to be able to charge more than I am.
Right. Well, this is fantastic. Thank you, Jay, so much. I just want to give you guys a snippet of Jay. If you guys want to hear more about Jay, how can they find?
So you can connect with me anywhere by going to www.connectwithjayscott.com. Connectwithjayscott.com.
All right, awesome. Well, Jay, thank you.
Awesome.
Thanks, all right, see you guys.